Welcome back to the Service Design Podcast. This is a very special episode, isn't it, Stina?
Yes, it's already the 25th of all of our episodes.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It feels like we only just started.
Yeah, and we also realized a couple of weeks ago, it's already the 25th, so we should do something special.
Yeah, so what have we done? First of all, we're going to start a newsletter where you can find out about what's coming up. You'll be the first to hear about upcoming guests, but we also have a nice prize package for you. So in April, we will randomly pick one of our subscribers of the newsletter, and they will win this fantastic reward package. What's in there, Stina?
Yes, it's nice to tell you. So we were thinking what would be a great gift to give to our listeners. And then we realized there is one company we are a big fan of as service designers. It's called Neuland, and we actually order quite often with Neuland. They have really great workshop cases, nice Post-its and different kind of shapes, pens who are very thick so we can draw really nice models and templates for our workshops. So we are a big fan.
Yeah, and one of the things we use very much is ready-made workshop cases they have. They're bags full of markers, Post-its, everything you need for a workshop. And we're very happy that Neuland has given us one of these bags to give away to you. So that's already something to really look forward to. And besides that, there'll be a pack of Kingdom cards and a Moleskin, and maybe there'll be some more. But we'll post about all of these things on our website. So if you go to servicedesignpodcast.com/giveaway, you will find how to subscribe to the newsletter. And maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones to win this great prize. So we thought as a 25th episode, we'd reflect on the past episodes that we've done. We started in, end of 2016.
Yes, a long time ago.
Yeah, and we've had great experiences, and we're going to have a discussion and talk about our highlights, things that we remember of these things.
Yes, and the first episode we ever did was with Jesse Grimes from Service Design Network. And I remember it was a little bit awkward when we were thinking, what should we ask? And will it be fine? But then after the episode, we realized how much fun it was to talk to people with an expertise and how much we learned. And that's actually still, for me at least, one of the things I like most about doing this, that you learn so much from the experts in the field, what they are doing, and that we can also apply it in our own job and also share it with everyone online. So everyone can apply it in their job.
Yeah, I'm also remembering that we went to the apartment of one of our colleagues because we didn't have a good space with good acoustics at the office, and we went to an apartment where we'd never been before and set up this interview. So it was awkward in many ways.
I already didn't remember that one, but that's true. And I would love to say that now we have a super professional studio, but that's also not really the case, I would say.
We're still not so happy with our acoustics of this glass and concrete room that we're in.
Yeah, indeed. But at least we now have our mobile studio to improve the quality of the sound. And I think it works. So that's the most important thing for now.
Yes, indeed.
So what is an episode that you remember from all of those 25 that you think this is really still something that sticks in my mind?
Yeah. Actually, the first one that comes to mind is episode number 2. There was an episode with Simone Carrier from FutureGov. And I remember it was just really exciting to talk with somebody who's really working on a very high level on service design projects, doing really interesting things, but also finding that we could really connect, that we have the same experiences to share, because we were also doing a lot of work for government at that time. And I remember thinking, wow, we made a podcast, but we also made a friend. And I thought that was a really great experience.
Yeah, and indeed, it was. They're also working for governments. We are too. And we had so many things in common. But I think that's a general thing we have with all the guests on the show. So even though we're in totally different side of the world, we still feel that there is a common sense of what service design is and how you can change organizations, how we can make organizations more customer-centric. So I really have a feeling that it's getting known all over the world, and that we are sharing experiences and we're thinking of the same things we should do in organizations. I think that's great to see that we're all on the same mission.
Yeah, and it does seem to be a very open community. Everybody is very willing to share how they work, their learnings. I think that's a very nice to be part of that. The same question for you, Stina. What's one real highlight for you that stands out, an episode?
Well, I'm actually really enjoying the live episodes. We're here at Night Moves. We organize events, and it's always around a certain topic. And then we discuss what service design can mean to that topic. And I remember we were talking about blockchain, for example. And in the beginning, I was really thinking like, another complex technology and what should we do with it? But through organizing these events and through talking to those people on the podcast, I really realized how much value service design has. And I also heard from a lot of people that these kind of episodes where we talk with people who are not actually service designers, but we talk about how being more customer centric and focusing on collaboration, how that makes everything come to a better ending, better products, better services. I really enjoy those episodes.
Yeah, I agree. It's really interesting if we can bring in different perspectives and different knowledge and experience, not only from service designers.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and also the award-winning episodes, it's also always really nice to see because there's always a big mix in those episodes. Is there like a certain one that you think, this one I remember, those people won the awards, and it was very inspiring to me?
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy the award winner episodes because we don't get to choose who we speak to. And you really come up with very unexpected people with very unexpected projects. So I think that's very interesting in itself. But one that comes back to me, I think that was episode 6, the award winner for systemic and cultural change in the public sector. And this was with Sophie Anderson, who has been working on a very big project throughout Sweden, where they help a government organization make changes. They set up these service design labs kind of in different locations, and they work together. They really co-create with government people there to come up with new services, etc. Can't remember the details, but I remember I really, really enjoyed that project, hearing all about the details of that project.
Yeah, and what I also noticed over the different episodes is that, for example, this one, it goes so broad and they do so many different things. And often we here at Night Moves, we have certain, like, we work for government a lot, for example, and we are mainly in certain stages of a process. But to hear like what service design can mean all over the world and how it can be implemented from like an explorative view in a project to like the tendering process, for example, in one of the episodes, to really helping organizations on the long run and to keep on implementing service design. I think that's very inspiring to see and to hear that different companies are still working on different parts, but I do think there's a great opportunity for service designers to help companies in the long run and to really cover all those phases in a process.
What would you say are some recurring themes in the episodes we've done?
I think one which comes back quite often, but is still something which I think some people are struggling with, including us, is how can you actually measure the results of service design, and how can you also prove that you have results to your client, or how can the client prove it to other people in the organizations? And we heard some very inspiring cases there, I think, from people who have been applying service design for a long time and who can really prove things with numbers. But it is something I also remember from some episodes. It's still really a struggle that people have.
Yeah, I think the episode in which somebody had the best case of measuring. I think that was a recent one, the episode about TELUS with Chris Ferguson and Judy Mellett, where they really seriously measure a lot of things to be able to say how time spent and revenue has changed because of these things. It's a commercial setting, so I think it's important there to measure. But it's good to see they really, really are able to measure in that situation.
Yeah, one thing I remember from that episode is that they were doing data analysis workshops. And that's something I still really want to do as well. So they bring together people from different departments, and then they look at different data sets that they have, and they draw some conclusions together, or they see how they can put the right data together to do some extra research and to follow up on it over a long period of time. I thought that was a concrete example, but a really nice example on how you can measure your data and already in the beginning of a project decide like what kind of goals you have. So are there other things that you remember that you think different episodes had in common or that came back quite often?
I think there's a couple of things. One big one is also definitely change, that service design projects inherently require change because we take the back end into consideration as well, the organization. Maybe a design requires a new hire or a fire. It can all happen. And while that service design definitely can play a very big part in facilitating this change, I think that's something that came back in many episodes. That's something we've definitely also been looking at ourselves, and we do support change with service design. But I think it doesn't do 100% of the job. I think at the previous service design conference, there was an interesting talk as well, where it really showed the different aspects of change and how with service design you can cover very many of them, but not quite all. So I think that's still an interesting search to figure out which puzzle pieces do we need to fully provide support in change.
That might be actually a very good topic for an episode after this 25th one.
Indeed. I will write that down right away.
Yes. Are there more things you thought that came back?
Let me see. Well, the agency versus in-house discussion. I think that's something that comes back. We are an agency, of course, and a question you often get when we start training people to do service design or coaching them is like, are we shooting in our own foot? But we don't think so. I think, well, as long as we're able to help people, we hope they'll come back for more help. And there's also, it won't just from one day to the other, all organizations will have in-house service designers. So.
No, that's true. But it is also a topic that indeed often comes back in the community right now. And I believe that the training people in some skills, like not making them service designers, but training them in user testing, for example, or collaborating, that will become like really important part of our job, and not only executing everything ourselves, because impact will be so much higher if we can let the organizations also implement parts of it. And of course, they have so much internal knowledge that they some things are just better that they focus on it internally.
Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking of a project for a local government I was doing, and there our partner working for the local government, he really has been taking on service design skills and has been facilitating a lot of the research himself. And I think that's really great to see, because on one hand, with a local government only has a limited budget, and they are able to do a big service design track and only hire us for the necessary part. But it's also much more sustainable. They're not dependent on us to be able to gather new insights. And I think that's very, very good to see.
Yeah.
Stina, is there anything that you learned in one of our episodes that you have actually put into practice?
Yes, I remember the episode with Tanara from Fjord. She was talking about critic groups, if I remember the name right, probably a totally different name. But the idea was that teams that work on a certain project, after a period of time, they get so immersed into the content that they don't see everything anymore, and that it helps to let other people in your company give like a very critical view on what you have been doing and tell you where it can go wrong and what you should improve. And this can be very painful, but she said that it's super useful to still do it and to keep it first inside the team. So before you go to a client, even the questions that your client otherwise would ask were already solved within your company, and you already get such a stronger vision on what you are going to do. And that's actually something we have been experimenting with as well. So if we work on projects with a team, we really often go to other people and just ask them, can you please be very critical and say everything that can go wrong? And then in the beginning, we think, oh shit, we're not going to solve this. But after a while, it makes our concept so much stronger, and it really improves the quality of our work.
Yes, definitely. And the earlier you ask for this feedback, the easier it is to handle critical feedback. Yeah, because what we were doing indeed before that was just closer to the end of a project, sharing what we had done.
Yes.
But yeah, there's not much time to really take any feedback into account. So I think it seems a very obvious one to do.
Yeah, indeed.
But we weren't doing it yet. So
yeah, indeed. We put teams on projects, but often it's good to have a fresh look. And I think that's something we can still grow on, but we are already implementing these feedback sessions quite well. Something that you remember that you were applying in your daily job?
What comes to mind is the discussion we had with the design managers of Australia. They talked about their project they did with school kids. They redesigned the school car park with children. A very pragmatic, very simple project. And what I took from there is things can be more simple sometimes. And you can really design a lot without going digital. You can design a lot without having total experts on the subject being part of the co-creation. And I think it really helped me to not underestimate the people who can partake in a project and the value they can bring in co-creation.
Yeah, maybe one thing that I would like to add is some of my favorite episodes are actually the episodes where we actually have the service designer together with the client. And that also is like part of this aspect, because you bring together those people and they really seem to be like one team. And I think most of the projects that are most successful are the ones that you become one team with your client and you really go towards the same goal. And it's also very clear towards which goal you go. So there are some episodes where we had people together, like duo interviews. And those are the ones I really, really enjoyed, I realized.
Yes, that's true. You really get the two different perspectives. And it's a sign of a strong project indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Yes. And another thing I would actually like to share that made me very proud was that one of our guests told us after we met again a couple of months after we published an episode that they got a new sales lead through the podcast.
Yeah, that's really good to hear.
Yes, and that's super inspiring to me. So not only bringing across the knowledge, but also making clients being aware of, our potential clients being aware of service design, and even letting them realize that they want to work with a service designer. That's really, I think, why we do this.
Definitely. So what are your ambitions for this podcast, Tina? Where would you like to see us go in the next year?
Yeah. One thing is I hope to get even more listeners. I think it's amazing to see that we have people from all over the world, but there are still some gaps we are seeing in our analytics. For example, Africa. I think it would be really great if we could reach people there as well. And we don't know if it's because of service design is not that common there, or if they just don't listen to podcasts, but it would be great through the podcast that we can also bring some service design stories into parts of the world that are not that known yet with service design.
What I would really love is more interaction with our listeners. When we go to the conferences, sometimes we run into people and they say, hey, we listen to your podcast. And then it's really nice for us to hear that there's actually people out there listening. But yeah, I'd like to hear back from people sometimes about who they'd like to hear, what they thought about the episode. I would love to engage in discussions and
indeed, what kind of topics people would like. So I think we should set up something where we can ask for some feedback from our listeners. It's just a brainstorm right now, so we'll see what we what we can do.
Yeah, I also think it might be really fun if we find a way that people can add their own questions to episodes. Maybe they can just record their voice, send it to us, and we can take that into the episode as well.
Yeah,
but also, let this be a trigger to respond to us. What would you like to see happen in the podcast in the future? What kind of episodes do you really like? What would you like us to do? Reach out. We're really open to hearing all of this.
Yes, indeed. We will keep on interviewing people. If you have suggestions, please let us know. We already have a great lineup of some speakers we will talk to, and we hope you will enjoy those already. But if you think of someone interesting or a question you would really like us to talk about with someone, please let us know, and we will try to get them on board.
Yeah. Also, I want to give a big thank you to the Service Design Network. They've been great that we've been able to partner with them for doing this podcast. I think it's great that they help us reach out to the big community of service designers. So, thank you very much, Service Design Network. For,
thank you.
helping us with our podcast. So remember to sign up to our newsletter on servicedesignpodcast.com/giveaway, and perhaps you'll win one of these fantastic Neuland workshop bags. And thank you, Stina, for being a great co-host on this podcast.
Thank you too.
I never expected this to become one of my favorite parts of my job, doing these episodes. So let's hope we can do many, many more.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you. And of course, most importantly, also thanks to our listeners, because it would be quite stupid to make a podcast without listeners. And it's really great to see that we have listeners from all over the world. And I hope you enjoy the show as much as we do. And I hope really that you keep on following us and listen to our episodes.
Indeed. Thank you very much. And hear you in episode 26.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. The Service Design Podcast was brought to you by the Service Design Network and Night Moves. For more information, previous episodes, or to join the conversation, please visit servicedesignpodcast.com. For more information about the Service Design Network, visit service-design-network.org, and for Night Moves, visit nightmoves.be. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to this podcast. The intro and outro music is from If the Stars Grow Dim Tonight by Hydrogen Sea featuring I Will, I Swear. Until next time.